Hello, you guys. Welcome to this live. I am so excited to be sharing with you what really helped me stop my binge eating. I'm in a very good mood, although I'm kind of recovering from a cold. You guys seen, I just got back from my honeymoon in Greece, Santorini. It was beautiful. It was amazing. But I always end up getting sick on the plane ride home. But we're getting better and we're still showing up. So hello, you guys popping on. I'm so excited you're here. If you are here watching live with me, drop a comment down below. Say hello. I love to see all of your beautiful faces. So how in the heck and Bob did I stop my binge eating? Everybody wants to know this. So I am going to share with you back in 2018. This is when my binge eating was at its worst. I was binging almost every single day. My binges happened most of the time in the evening. Let me know if you can relate with evening binges. That's when my binges happen the most. Congrats on your wedding. Thank you so much. It's funny because we've actually been married for 2 years, but we've only gotten the chance to go on our honeymoon because of all the craziness that happened over the past 2 years. But thank you so much. And it's been amazing because I feel like I've just like had this prolonged wedding. Like, I don't know. It's like I had my ceremony one day, I had a reception the year later, and then 2 years later, we went on our honeymoon. So I feel like it's just been amazing. So 2018, I was binging the most, almost every single day, almost every single night. This is when I was tracking macros. I was a personal trainer. I was a health coach, and I was so meticulous about every single thing that I was eating. I was still very scared of calories. I was still obsessed with the way that my body looked. I was still obsessed with what I was eating. I was still fearful of certain foods. And I was stuck in this place because I was a personal trainer. I was a health coach. I knew all the things of what to do, but I, for some reason, could not figure out how to stop my binge eating. And I'm sure you can relate of like, you know, all the things of what to do, right? You're like, I know I shouldn't give in to the urge to binge. I know that I should, eat intuitively and not be so obsessed with food and calories, but like actually implementing and doing the things is so much different, right? So when I was at this point in 2018, I just thought I had like a lack of motivation because I'm a very motivated and very disciplined person. And I'm sure if you're here watching this and you follow me, like you're a motivated person, you're a disciplined person, you probably thrive in a lot of areas in your life. For me, like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like in school, I studied, I got amazing grades. I was 18 years old, I was a personal trainer, I did my yoga certification. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. But when it came to my food, I felt broken because I could never stay consistent with anything that I stuck to. It's like I would do well for a short period of time and then I would binge. And I thought there was something wrong with me because I tried. I tried to not give in to my binge urges. I promised myself this is going to be the very last binge. I promised myself, no, for real, tonight, one last binge. Just one more. Just one more binge. And then that's it. That's it. No more binges. I tried to not give in. I would go for walks. I would stay busy. In the evenings, I would have my tea. I would just say, just drink some tea, just drink some water, and just go to bed. Because if you go to bed, you're not going to get hungry, right? So I would try all these different tactics. I would even book yoga classes late at night because that's when I would tend to binge. So I figured if I just stayed busy and I relied on motivation and discipline and willpower, and I just distracted myself, then I wouldn't binge. But these tactics only worked short term. So some days I would get lucky. And some days I would literally go to yoga class and I would come home and not binge. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And there were some days where I went to bed early and I didn't binge. But I wondered why I was still binging the next day, the next week, the next month. My binge urges never went away. I still had binge urges. So one day I might have gotten lucky and was so busy that I didn't have time to binge. Or I went for a walk, so I didn't binge. Or I fell asleep early, so I didn't binge. I say like I got lucky, so to speak. But the next day, I would still binge. The next week, I would still binge. And I found myself in this place of like, I would do well for a certain period of time. And then I would have like week-long, month-long binges. So I realized that the tools, the strategies that I was trying to use to stop my binge eating, like intermittent fasting, distracting myself, staying busy, going to bed early, drinking water and tea, I realized that none of those things weakened or got rid of my binge urges. They were still popping up. So it wasn't that I was lacking motivation. It wasn't that I was powerless over my binge urges. I realized that I wasn't using the right strategies to get rid of the urge to binge, which the urge was literally the thing that was preceding me to binge. You guys know the demanding, controlling, persistent urge. I say it's like a child throwing a tantrum. It's like this annoying thing. It's like I'd be trying to work and it's like, go binge. And then it's like I would be at a yoga class and I'm like thinking about like binging because it was just like this annoying thing right here. Like I just had to do it. I just had to binge. I had to do it. Any of you guys feel the same way? You're like, as soon as I feel the urge to binge, I just feel like I have to do it because I need the relief. I need the comfort. The urge to binge for me felt so freaking uncomfortable. So freaking uncomfortable. And I felt powerless. I'm like, I thought I was motivated. Why can't I just not give in? But every time I felt powerless because I would try these tactics like I was sharing with you. But even when I went for a walk, even when I went to bed early, I would still be thinking about binging. I would still be thinking about food, and half the time I would still give in. So I very early on realized that none of these tactics were actually going to support me to stop my binge eating. And I just want to pause here and give you guys reassurance that if you've tried all these things and it can feel like, oh my gosh, I've tried so many things to stop my binge eating, I hope this just gives you some encouragement that it's not your fault for why you're still continuing to binge, because none of those things actually will work to get rid of the urge to binge. Like I still had the urge. So I realized that binge eating was a habit because I remember from the first time that I ever binged, this was like when I was in grade 8, I was probably like 14 years old or something like that. Like it just happened. Like my binge just happened. I didn't really think I was binging. But over the years, I realized that it became harder and harder and harder for me to not give in to my binge urges. And so what that made me realize was every time that I binged, I was further ingraining this habit into my brain. And the more times that I felt that urge to binge and I gave in right away, it's like the stronger those neural pathways in my brain became, and therefore it made it that much harder for me to not give in. So instead of me thinking like I just had a motivation problem, I'm like, no, this is a habit. And because you've been doing this, for me personally, it was 10 years. Some of my clients, it's been 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years, however long you've been doing it for. It's like you might recognize that it's been harder for you to not give in and you feel powerless over your binge urges, but it's not your fault. It's a habit in the brain. And no amount of distraction, no amount of drinking water and tea is going to stop your binge eating. Can we just pause for a minute? If you have been struggling with binge eating for 5 years, 10, 15, 20 years, drinking water, drinking tea, going for a walk, and distracting yourself is not going to stop binge eating. Like I said, it might temporarily help you to not give in because you're busy or whatnot, but it doesn't actually get rid of it. And for me personally, I didn't want to be on high alert all the time. I didn't want to have to go out for dinner and wonder if I was going to binge. I didn't want to have date night with my husband and wonder if I was going to binge. I wanted to end this for good. And I know you guys want to do that as well too. So I needed to learn specific tools, specific strategies that would help me get rid of that urge to binge. And what worked for me was learning how to rewire my brain because it's a habit. I needed to reprogram my brain out of these habitual cycles in order for me to stop binge eating. And here's the thing. It is so much easier for you to eat intuitively. It's so much easier for you to stop when you're full. It's so much easier for you to eat normally when you don't feel that nagging urge to binge. And it's so much easier for you to not binge because when you don't have the itchy mosquito bite, uncomfortable, nagging urge to binge, you don't binge. And it was so crazy because when I learned this process, I didn't have to try to not give in. Like, I wasn't fighting against the binge urge anymore. I didn't feel the urge anymore. I stopped feeling that urge to binge. And I would have trigger foods in my house. And I'm like, but wait, I don't feel like binging. It was the wildest, craziest thing, but it was so much easier for me to not binge. I didn't have to try to like, oh my God, I better distract myself. I better go to a yoga class. I better just like hurry up, go to bed. I didn't have to try to use any of those tactics. I just didn't feel that urge to binge anymore. And it's been almost 3 years since I have had a single urge to binge. And I just went on vacation, like I said, with my husband on our honeymoon. And we're on vacation. We're enjoying all this delicious food. We had dessert almost every single night. We split our desserts mostly every single night. Zero binge urges. You guys see me on my Instagram story. My chocolate chip pancakes are like a past trigger food. I still eat them. Zero desire to binge. And I want to share with you guys this process, this method, because this is how you sustainably end binge eating, by rewiring your brain so you no longer feel the urge to binge. This is truly it, you guys. This changed my life because I went from feeling powerless over my binge urges to feeling stronger, to feeling empowered, to feeling so damn proud of myself because it's been almost 3 years since I binged. And this is not like I'm special. I'm not a unicorn. I wish I was a special unicorn, but I too felt the way that you might be feeling right now, like I have to give in. Well, inside of my program, Stop the Urge, which is happening on Thursday, not only am I going to teach you this process, so you can also rewire your brain to get rid of the nagging urge to binge, but you're also going to learn very tangible tools for when you feel the urge to binge that will help you to not give in. And the best part, the more times you utilize these tools through repetition of the proper sustainable tools that will help to rewire your brain, eventually you won't feel that urge to binge anymore. I want this for every single one of you guys because it's truly changed my life. So this program is starting on Thursday. It is called Stop the Urge. It's a 3-week program. Like I said, you're going to learn how to rewire your brain out of the binge eating cycle. You're going to know what to do the moment an urge comes on that will help you to not give in. And these are sustainable tools. These are not tactics like go to bed early and brush your teeth and just distract yourself. We all know that those only work very, very, very short term, and it doesn't get rid of the urge to binge. So I'm super excited. It is a 3-week program. There's going to be trainings with me. There's going to be group support. There's going to be integration worksheets because I really want you to implement in this program so that you can actually see a transformation. So if you join before Thursday, you save $100. Okay. If you join before Thursday, we start, we're ready to rock and roll. Somebody actually just joined again before this live. So I'm super excited. If you want more details, you can message me, Stop the Urge, and I will share all the details with you. But like I said, the program starts on Thursday, and you can save $100 if you join before then. I think there was a question above. I'm just going to scroll up here. Love your tips. Thank you. Would love to know an example of what your binges look like. Like, what was the volume of food you'd consume? So sometimes I second guess whether I should answer this or not, because the reality is it's like binges look different for every single person. And the reality is binge eating is actually not characterized by how much you're eating or even necessarily what you're eating. Yes, there is a part of it in terms of like when you're sitting there and consuming thousands of calories, of course that's a binge, but binge eating is more characterized by the feeling that you get while you're binging. So for me, it was like out of body experience, this surge of energy, this rush of anxiety, no control. It felt like somebody was taking over my body and doing things with food that just did not feel like me. I intellectually knew that I was full, and my body was like, keep on going. I felt like I was not in my driver's seat. I was not in my body. I like went into like this dark hole, and then I like came back. So in terms of like what I specifically binged on, I mean, sweets, obviously. But for me, like I'm a very healthy eater. So I never like personally, I'm just sharing for me personally, like I wouldn't go to like a drive-through per se and order like a burger and fries and like sit there in my car. Some of my clients do that. For me, it was like I would still kind of binge on like healthy foods, but I had zero control. I would still feel guilty afterwards. I'd be thinking about food 24/7. I had zero control. Like that was for me what my binges were. And I would binge on like sweets and stuff. But a lot of the times it was you know, things that I would make, right? So it was for me more the feeling, the out of body experience, even at social events. Like at social events, I would feel this urge to binge, and I'm like in front of everyone. So then I would be so embarrassed, and I wouldn't basically eat at the social event. And then what do you think I would do? I would come home and binge on all of the foods that I actually wanted to eat, right? So that's kind of what my binges look like. But again, everyone's binges are different. But the best part about no longer having the urge to binge is literally you can be wherever. You can be on vacation. You can be at a social event. You can be home alone and have zero desire to binge. My binges happened a lot when I was home alone. And now it's like I can be home alone and I'm like cleaning my house. I'm going for walks. Like I'm not thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I going to plan to eat when I'm home alone? Like I don't think about that anymore. I'm just like, what I literally think about is like, how much work can I get done in a single day when my husband's not home? I'm like so excited to like create content for you guys, work for my clients. Like I get so excited about that. I have so much more brain space. I'm so much more productive. And this is truly what can happen for you guys as well too. So I'm so pumped. We are starting on Thursday. If you are interested in joining this program, we're starting on Thursday. You can save $100 if you join before then. You can just DM me, Stop the Urge, and I'll send you all the details. So thank you guys so much for being here. Have such an incredible rest of your day, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.